What's up, everyone? How you guys doing? It's me, your boy Ryan, aka Clutch Sports Talk in the house. Happy Wednesday to you guys today, man. I got another great show in store for you guys today on this Wednesday evening, afternoon, wherever you're listening to from. I'm right now streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram on my phone as well. So I got a lot of stuff going on tonight. Also tonight, we want to talk about the Final Four matchups: UCLA versus Gonzaga, Houston versus Baylor. I'll give you my thoughts on that. And then obviously next, I want to talk about the quarterback situation in the upcoming draft. We all know Trevor Lawrence is going to go number one. Who's going to go number two? I'll make sure I show you my comments and thoughts on that as well. And finally, tonight, I have a special guest, Miles Johnson from the Let's Talk with Miles Johnson show. He's going to stop by. We're going to talk about NBA headlines and stories. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Clutch Sports Talk Live is presented by All Pro Digital Sports, the future in sports media content. Let's go. What's up, everyone? How you guys doing, man? Hey, welcome in. It's me, your boy Ryan, aka Clutch Sports Talk in the house, man. We got college basketball, we got NFL draft stuff coming up, and also, like I said, I got a special guest tonight, Miles Johnson. He's going to be breaking down some NBA headlines and stories later on in the evening, so you don't want to miss out on that. But before I get the show started, I want to get through some clerical stuff here. You see down below, that's all my social media channels. Make sure you subscribe to each and every one of those, particularly YouTube right now. But you can hit me up on Instagram at clutch.sports.talk, as well on Twitter at clutch_talk, and Facebook at Ryan Flowers, and finally YouTube. Just search Clutch Sports Talk. But I appreciate you guys for hanging in there. Make sure if you're in the live right now, drop a comment, say what's up. Even if you got a question, I'm pretty sure me and Miles won't have any problems answering any questions tonight once he gets on the show tonight, man. It's going to be a good show, man. I'm super excited. Like I said, I'm streaming in 4 platforms right now: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram on my phone. So I got a bunch of stuff going on right now. My Instagram is jumping up right now. So, man, I'm excited. Let's just get straight into the show, shall we? Let's do it. All right. So first thing I want to talk about tonight, Final Four is set. Now, this has been a really good March Madness tournament that I can remember. Now, I've been on record saying that I really don't watch as much college basketball like I used to, but this season's March Madness tournament has kind of reinvigorated me. I actually really was locked into a lot of these games from the first 4 up until now. Last night, I got to meet and see a lot of really good, young, talented players who may not be, lottery picks in the NBA draft, but these guys are solid and serviceable pros, I think. And so I think for me, college basketball has fallen off for me. But with this tournament being so random and all these mid-major teams that have made it so far, and not seeing the blue bloods like the Dukes and the North Carolinas and the Louisvilles and even Kentucky not even making the tournament, it kind of helped reinvigorate the sport, in my opinion. And this Final Four is setting up to be an actual real legitimate one, I would say. So the first matchup I want to get into is the one between the Houston Cougars and the Baylor Bears, I think, from Waco, Texas. So it's a Texas Final Four going on in there. Here's the thing about this particular matchup. Both teams are strong defensively. Both teams, I believe, are not giving up no more than 60, 65 points in the last 6 games. However, Baylor has the ability to score with several different players on the court. They got about 3 or 4 guys that can at least create their own shots, other than, Houston. Houston, on the other hand, they're a gritty team. They're coached by Kelvin Sampson. For those you don't remember who Kelvin Sampson was, he was the former coach, I believe, of Oklahoma, I think. And then, he faded away into obscurity. I believe he had some NCAA sanctions. So he got penalized there, but it's kind of nice to see him back, especially now in the Final Four with Houston. Houston back in the day, man, in the mid 80s, like mid to late 80s, they had Clyde Drexler, Akeem, Adream, Elijah One. They were known as five slam a jamma. I'm dating my age. I mean, granted, I was probably 3 or 4 years old when that all took place, but I do remember seeing highlights of those teams. And that was the last time they actually made a Final Four, was in 1984 in the Astrodome. So that's a long time ago. That's 37 years, because I'm 37 years old right now. So it's kind of cool to see Houston. I believe they're out of I forgot what conference they're in. I think they're in the American Conference, if I'm not mistaken. So to see a team like that make it to the Final Four, and Baylor is traditionally hasn't been I mean, they've had solid teams. Now, their women's basketball program has seen a lot more success as far as championships or Final Fours, but their men's basketball team is not too shabby themselves. So it's nice to see them. I think they haven't made a Final Four since 1950. So to see them back in the Final Four, that's pretty cool to see. And also moving on to the next matchup, UCLA versus Gonzaga. Man, Gonzaga looks unstoppable. I mean, literally, like I thought last night's game against USC, that was going to be that one true test, that one game that you're like, all right, this is the game that, they're 29-0 right now. They've blown out everybody that they played. And the fact that they came into that game last night and they just dominated USC. And USC was no slouch going into that game. USC had been blowing out people. I mean, literally, they blew out Kansas. They blew out Oregon. They just been cruising along. And then last night, all of a sudden, they didn't know how to protect the ball. And I mean, they had like 7 turnovers in the first 5 minutes of the game. And, not to say Gonzaga's defense is not great. It's awesome. Their offense looks so well balanced, man. Between the guy Timmy and Jalen Suggs. I mean, their perimeter play is amazing. The way they move the ball around the court in the half court set, man, they're going to be tough. I mean, I said a few weeks ago that if they were going to win a national championship, this was going to be the year they win the national championship. And they're almost there. They're 2 games away now. I think right now they're laying minus 13.5. That's a big margin as far as betting odds in regards to a Final Four. I think it's the largest spread in quite some time. Now, if you were a betting man, I would probably take UCLA plus 13.5 plus 14, because I think UCLA is a tough, gritty team. Their head coach, Nick Cronin, he's done an amazing job down there in Westwood. They've got guys like Johnny, what's his guy? Johnny Jenkins, whatever his name is. I forgot his name. Johnez or whatever his name. I forgot his name. It slipped my mind. But here's the thing. This guy last night, Johnny, oh man, someone let me know his name, man. I really don't want to mess up this kid's name. I think it's Johnny Juzang. There we go. Johnny Juzang. So I knew something cool like that. He had a bum ankle last night. They beat the number 1 seed team, Michigan, in close fashion. And I mean, their games have been close. I think with the exception of one game against Abilene Christian, the Bruins have come to play. I mean, literally, who would have thought the UCLA Bruins, one of the first 4 teams to play in the tournament, they were part of the first 4 in. Now they're part of the Final 4. So very interesting. And I think this is what's been giving the March Madness tournament so much more life, bringing so much people back to the sport, because the problem with college basketball is the fact that you got these one and done guys, and you get to watch them a little bit, and next boom, they're gone. So I'm very excited to see how this is all going to play out. My guess is I feel like the next time my show comes on, it'll be on Monday. The national championship game will be playing. I think it's going to be Gonzaga and Baylor. Those are my 2 picks. And I think Gonzaga probably wins it all, but we'll talk about that later on in the show. Hey, but make sure you guys stick around. I still got my boy Miles Johnson. He'll be on the show here shortly. We're going to be talking about some NBA headlines and stories, so you don't want to miss out with that. Again, if you're in the comments and if you're in the room right now, drop a comment, man. Appreciate it. If you're watching me on Instagram right now, what's up? I'm multitasking right now. I'm trying to do what I can. I'm a one-man show. But I appreciate you guys following and tuning in. So moving on from college basketball, I want to talk about something that's been coming up a lot more often because of some pro days. Now, I had a great discussion via text with a good friend of mine about Mac Jones. But before I get to Mac Jones, and he knows what I'm about to say, let's just be real. We all know Trevor Lawrence is going to go number 1. He's going to go number 1. Okay, so that's fine. Jacksonville is going to take him number 1. It would be probably one of the most surprising things if he doesn't go number 1. So, all right, get that out the way. Now, you got the Jets and then the 49ers rounding up the top 3. Well, both teams need a quarterback, right? I would assume so. So the question I want to ask to you guys, what quarterback do you think should be drafted second overall, or at least the second quarterback to be taken off the board? Now, some people like Zach Wilson. A few weeks ago, he had a pro day and everybody was like, oh my God, Zach Wilson, or a few days ago, excuse me, he's throwing off of one leg and behind the, I mean, it was so amazing. Okay, great. And then Mac Jones has his pro day. Oh my God, Mac Jones, he's like the next best thing. He probably should go number 1. I've heard that. And then Justin Fields, I believe, had his pro day. He ran like a 4.4 and he's throwing bombs down the field to some of his guys that he played with at Ohio State. And then, Trey Lance had his a few weeks ago. Now, Trey Lance probably should have had his last, if you ask me, because now we all forgot about him. Now the talk is all about Mac Jones and Justin Fields. I think the Zach Wilsons that might die down a little bit, unless there's some posturing going on with the Niners, why the Niners moved up, and now they're hyping him up. I don't know what's going on with that. Here's the thing, man. I feel like, and make sure you guys stick around. Miles Johnson is just around the corner. You don't want to miss out. But I think that this quarterback draft is really good. There are 5 legitimate starters in this quarterback. The 5 guys that I named: Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Justin Fields. Did I miss somebody? I think I got everybody. They're all great. But here's the thing. Who do I think should go number 2 overall? Like, they all got their faults. Okay. If we start with Zach Wilson from BYU, okay, small school. I'm not gonna discredit him for that, because we have tons of small school players come and make it big, particularly in the quarterback position. I'm not gonna down him for that. The one time I saw him play against a big team, or a big time team, not even like a Power 5 team, was Coastal Carolina, and he struggled. He struggled against a Coastal Carolina team. Now, that was the only kind of big marquee game that they had. And so that's the only thing I have to go off to judge him. Do I think can he play? Yeah, he can play. Can he throw? Yeah. Did he look great in his pro day? Yeah, of course. Pro days, to me, man, for quarterbacks, I feel like they're irrelevant, because you're asking these guys to make throws that they typically would make anyway with their homies in shorts and a t-shirt. Okay, so he had a great pro day, whatever. The next guy, Mac Jones. Okay, return of the Mac Daddy. Mac Daddy make you want to jump Jones. All right, check this out. He plays for Alabama, and I'm not going to discredit him too so much, but here's the thing about this. When you play quarterback for Alabama, you literally are playing for the 33rd NFL team. We all know Alabama has NFL players up and down their roster. Now, it's not his fault that they have that. I'm not going to get on him for that. That's a good thing. But when you got, your offensive linemen, 2 or 3 of those guys are going to be in the first or second round picks. You're throwing to guys like Judy, Devontae Smith, Eric Waddle, some other guys there. You're handing the ball off to Najee Harris. Life is a little bit easier for you, so you don't have to do too much. And here's the thing. Where was all this talk before the season, or even during the season, kind of? It seems like in the past couple of weeks or so, Mac Jones has skyrocketed to the top. Now teams like the 49ers are looking like, hey, maybe we might draft him and skip him over Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields, I'll move on to him next, is the fact that, okay, he's got some mechanical issues. He's an athlete. He ran a 4.4, so what? I don't really care about him running a 4.4. Honestly, he can run a 5.6. It doesn't matter. He's playing quarterback, okay? Unless he's running a 4.1 or a 4.2, then it really doesn't matter, because then that 4.4 speed really is not going to be utilized the way like Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson would be utilized. That's my thought on that. He went to Ohio State again, a big school. He's got a lot of protection. He did struggle a lot this season. A few games against Indiana, Northwestern. He struggled a lot. I think he threw like 3 interceptions in one of those games. He struggled. And I feel like there were more games that we can see him struggling than really good games that he just had that we would say there was a real good. Mac Jones didn't really have any games that we saw down on film that he really struggled. But, I mean, he wouldn't. Why would he? He has a tremendous talent around him. Not to say that Ohio State doesn't have tremendous talent, but they don't got Alabama talent. And it was evident in that national championship game. Am I right or wrong? Let me know what you guys think on that. So, Trey Lance, small school again. Really don't know what he can really do now. He went to the same school as Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is still trying to battle his way to say he's one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. I believe he's a little bit more athletic than Carson Wentz. Some people like him over Justin Fields. Some people like him over Mac Jones. But at the end of the day, it's scary to pick who's number 2. And I'm going to pick a number 2 because this is a segment. But before I pick who I'm going to say, or who I'm going to say what I'm going to pick, it all depends on what team they go to, man. I mean, literally, there's only one guy I feel that can probably go in and turn around a franchise, and that's Trevor Lawrence. Flat out. So, but we got some comments already here from All Even Podcast with Barry Grant Jr. He says, QBs always move up and down come draft time due to overanalysis of the position. Yeah, absolutely. It's analysis by paralysis. These guys come in there and they're like, oh, man, hey, look at his shorts, man. Look at the length of those shorts. Oh man, hey, he looks good. Like, it really doesn't make a difference, man. Like, we got enough tape on a lot of these guys, it doesn't really matter. The pro day is just for me. I feel like the pro day is more for the skill guys, the offensive line guys, those guys that maybe don't have a lot of film. But for the quarterbacks, it's like whatever. But anyway, before we move on to the next segment, I do want to just tell you who I think should go number 2 to the Jets. And I feel like it should be Justin Fields, man. That's what I feel like. I feel like in today's modern NFL, you got to be athletic. You got to be able to at least move a little bit. Justin Fields, out of all of the other guys, I feel like he can probably make better plays off script. That's what I think. I think you get him out the pocket. Now, his throwing mechanics isn't great. I get all that. He doesn't throw a pretty ball, but it's effective enough. But I feel like the Jets are probably going to take Zach Wilson overall. But I think that Mac Jones is a capable quarterback. Should the Niners take him? Yeah, if Justin Fields isn't there, yeah, you probably take him. But don't take him over Justin Fields. But that's just my thoughts on that, man. It is what it is. That's what I got. So, all right, we're going to keep it moving, man. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my man in, man. I've been watching his stuff for the last couple of weeks or so. His name is Miles Johnson. He's the host of Let's Talk with Miles Johnson podcast. Miles, what's up, bro? How you doing?
How you doing, Ryan? I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here, man.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you had the time and to come in and talk some NBA. Just before we get into that, can you kind of like let everybody know like who you are, what's your show about or what's your platform? Like, what do you like to talk about?
Yeah. So I created Real Talk with Miles Johnson about 7 months ago in July 2020. I'm a sophomore in college right now, and I just thought like, you know what? I love talking about sports. That's something I love to do since I was like in high school, watching like guys like Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp every day. I was like, you know what? Let me just create my own platform where I can talk about sports, the NBA, NFL, all that. So I was like, you know what? It's the best time. I was in quarantine. Didn't have much stuff to do, so I was like, you know what? I might as well just start my own podcast.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate that. And you know what? If you haven't checked out his Instagram and because you're on TikTok and all that too, go do that right now. Go do that right now. If you're using your phone to watch the show, wait and then go. But after immediately go check out this man's YouTube. He's got some really good content, and that's why I invited him to come on the show tonight because I like to give other people an opportunity to kind of to spread their wings a little bit and get out there in other people's faces and other platforms. So Miles, thanks a lot, man. But so let's just keep it pressing. So the first thing I want to talk to you about tonight, obviously with the news, with the Brooklyn Nets going all in, basically signing, they're getting I think they're collecting all the Infinity Stones to win this basketball championship. Where do you think the Nets stand now with the players that they acquired in Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge?
I would say right now with AD being injured, LeBron being injured as well. I mean, I don't have too much questions about LeBron, but I would say that they're the best team in the NBA right now as constructed, and they've been playing great. James Harden, he's been playing at an MVP level. Kyrie Irving, he's been playing at an almost MVP level as well. But just the additions that they've made, and they still got Joe Harris, they still have Spencer Dinwiddie. Who I don't know if he'll come back or not. Still got Jeff Green. They still got TLC, Landry Shamet. So I feel like they are a complete team. But I feel like a healthy Lakers squad could definitely, it's gonna be a great series. I feel like the Lakers and the Nets in the finals, I feel like that's what's gonna happen as long as AD as long as he is 100%.
Right. So okay. I'm assuming that you think then the Lakers are going to just get to the finals. So they're going to blow through the West. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah. So I think that though, I hope, because I'm a LeBron fan, but I hope that we can at least get like a Clippers and Lakers Western Conference Finals, or at least they can meet at some point, because we were robbed of that last year. So I feel like as long as I want to have that, I want to have Kawhi versus LeBron, but I definitely feel like as long as AD is healthy, even if he's 75% with the addition of Andre Drummond, I feel like the Lakers are the clear favorite. I'm sorry to any Utah Jazz fans or Nuggets. They made some moves, but I just feel like there isn't a team in the West that can compete with a 100% fully healthy Lakers squad.
That's what I think so too. I tell a lot of people that the Lakers can finish 8th in the West. It doesn't matter because they really there's no matchup for LeBron at anybody in the West. There's like you look at the Jazz. Yeah, they're a great team. You know, they play good defense. They're a cute story. But at the end of the day, we saw what happens to them in the playoffs in a 7-game series. Donovan Mitchell has to carry more than the load. They don't have another guy. You know, the Lakers, I mean, who else is out there? The Clippers might pose the biggest challenge, I mean, because they do have at least 2 solid defenders in PG and Kawhi Leonard. But overall, I think I agree with you. I think the West is theirs to win as long as they're healthy. And, you know, they added Andre Drummond. And I know he's not a like a big splash marquee guy. And I know centers of his caliber, they're relics. I understand that. It's a wing-driven league, but he can still give you 15, 17 boards. He's a really offensive, and he can play defense. So I think it's a value pickup for them. What do you think about Andre Drummond? I think he starts tonight, his Laker career.
Yeah, and I mean, there were other teams that he was considering, the Nets, the Celtics, or whatever. So I was so happy that he chose LA, because I feel like that was the only chance that they could really have to
Right.
compete with the Nets in the finals. And just because they got rid of JaVale and Dwight, and they added Marcus Gasol, and I just
Right.
thought, Marcus Gasol, he just hasn't lived up to, being like,
Wow.
he's been a lot of times he's shooting threes when he should be on the block. He isn't the best rebounder. Let's just be honest, he's way past his prime.
Oh, yeah.
They're missing Dwight Howard's presence of getting boards, catching lobs, all of that. And just that presence on the defensive end. So I feel like Andre Drummond is going to be that anchor for that Lakers team.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, you're right. Marc Gasol, he's actually been a disappointment. I know he's not the same guy, but I expect a little bit more from him. But I was fearful that when they traded JaVale McGee and they let Dwight walk, that they lost a lot of athleticism in the paint. Because Mark is not athletic. I mean, let's be real. I think an 85-year-old geriatric patient is a lot more athletic than Marc Gasol at this point in his career. Now, he was a good defensive player like maybe 5 years ago, but not so much now. So, okay, let me ask you this. With KD now in Brooklyn, and, we saw what he did when he went to Golden State. Do you think if he does happen to win a championship with the Brooklyn Nets, do you think most people would accept this championship as much as they did the ones in Golden State? Or you think that this kind of tarnishes his career?
I wouldn't say it tarnishes his career, because if you win a championship, people always said, like, when he went to Golden State, like, oh, the rings are fake. But like 10 years from now, he still has 2 MVP, or 2 Finals MVPs, two championships. So I
Right.
feel like you can't take that away from him. But I definitely feel like it would have been more respected if the Nets had the team of just him and Kyrie, and they didn't make the trade for James
For
Harden.
Harden?
They kept that team with Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, all those guys, and I just feel like that would have been a better matchup, because now they have 3 stars with Harden, Kyrie, and KD. Before the trade, it was only Kyrie, and it was only Kyrie and KD, but they still had a great supporting cast. So I feel
Right.
like it would have been more respected if they kept the team that they had, because it was still a great team. It wasn't any scrubs on the bench.
Right.
I definitely feel like, with the additions that they made, I don't feel like they needed Blake Griffin. I don't feel like they needed
Nah.
LaMarcus Aldridge. Their need is kind of is the defense, and those guys at this stage of their career, they aren't, quote unquote, defensive stoppers right now.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't think they really needed those guys. But I just feel like if they kept the squad that they had in the beginning of the season, it would have been he would have been much more respected for sure.
Right. No, I agree with that. Okay. So with LeBron being hurt now, let's talk about the MVP race right now. If we move on,
Mhm.
who do you think wins it right now? Do you think LeBron is still the leader, or does a guy like Jokic move up now because he's still playing? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, for the longest, I had LeBron as the front runner. I also had Joel Embiid as the front runner before he got injured too. But I think just because of the time that LeBron is gonna miss, I think he's gonna miss about like a month. So I just
Right.
feel like at that point he's missed too much games, so he's not gonna be able to, I guess, be in the running for MVP. I think like the top 3 candidates are gonna be Damian Lillard, James
Mm,
Harden, and Jokic. I feel like Dame isn't gonna win
no.
because he's in like a small market. People
Right.
don't really watch the Trailblazers. They're kind of late. Everybody's on the East Coast. with Jokic, if the Nuggets are a top 3 seed, then I could see him being MVP. But right now, just with the way James Harden has played, and I know everything happened in Houston, and some people might take it away from him. But I mean, James Harden, with what he's done with
True.
Kyrie in and out of the lineup, KD out of the lineup for an extended period of time, he has carried this team, and they're like 1 game back of being first place in the East. He's had triple double. He had like a 30-point triple double last night or something like that, a 40-point triple double the other night. I mean, he's been carrying this team, and I just feel like he should be the front runner for MVP at this moment.
No, I agree with that. I mean, the only reason why I wouldn't give it to James Harden because he quit on his first team in the beginning of the season. I feel like that should count for something. As far as his skill and play on the court, absolutely. What he's been able to do with Kyrie and KD missing significant amount of time for various reasons. I would say that Jokic, I believe, is the real deal. I think he's better than Giannis as far as big men are concerned. Giannis can't shoot the ball, and Giannis is. He won back-to-back MVPs, which he probably shouldn't have. So if I had to pick today, I would say, I would probably have to go with Jokic. I would definitely have to go with him just because of the fact that he's a big man and what he's able to do with the basketball, his scoring ability. And he plays some pretty good defense and he passes the ball pretty well. So, that would be my pick. But let me know what you guys think. Did you guys like Miles's pick? Did you like my pick? Or you got another pick? Let me know in the comment section. And we're going to keep it going. So, all right. So from MVP, we're going to kind of go through some of the other awards that are possibly going to, that are going to come out in the NBA here towards the end of the season. Another exciting one is the Rookie of the Year. Now, LaMelo Ball to me was the hands down at one point. Now he's out with the wrist fracture. There's rumors that he might come back, but he may not come back. Do you think he still wins it? Or do you think a guy like Anthony Edwards kind of comes from behind? Or is there somebody else in mind that you think could win the Rookie of the Year?
I think that LaMelo Ball, I feel like he's gonna miss probably the most of the season, if not the whole entire season. So I wouldn't have him as a front runner right now, but I would have, and I mean, if LaMelo wasn't injured, I mean, he was the clear favorite to win. I think that wasn't even a question. But I feel like I feel like the two candidates right now, depending on how their seasons go, could be Tyrese Halliburton and and Anthony Edwards. The Timberwolves, they play a little bit better after the All-Star break. So I feel like they have. So I feel like, I definitely feel like, right now, Anthony Edwards is the front runner. I mean, he's been playing great. But Tyrese Halliburton, if the Kings can become like a 9th seed, a 10th seed, be able to get in that playing game, then you might have to look at him, because the Timberwolves, obviously their record is terrible, but the Kings might have a shot to get in the playoffs. Right. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, he has shown that
he's balling
this season.
Balling. But see, and we don't hear about him because he plays for the Kings, and that's the problem with the NBA sometimes. And that's why I was kind of like, what was it? Was it the year before? Or was it this year? Actually, it was this year when Anthony Edwards got drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves. I was like, that sucks for him, because you're not going to really hear about him because he plays in the Timberwolves. I forgot who was the number 2 pick. I forgot now.
James Wiseman, I believe.
For the Warriors. Okay, see, so like if he had went to a team like that, you go to California, you're in Silicon Valley, you're playing with Steph Curry, the limelight is on you a lot more. I was disappointed that LaMelo did go to the Hornets, only because it's not a bigger market. Mm-hmm. But I do like what they've been able to do with that team. For those of you who don't know about the Hornets, that's a good young team, man. They got some talent. They got
Rozier,
Bridges. Graham. You got PJ. What's his name? PJ Brown. Is it PJ Brown? I forgot his name.
Washington.
Henderson, something like that.
Washington.
You got Terry Rozier. All these guys are really solid, but it's unfortunate that he had the fractured wrist, and now he's probably not going to win Rookie of the Year because, like you said, he's going to miss too much time. So speaking of time, in regards to like defensive players right now, who do you think is the top guy right now as far as defensive player of the year?
Well, I'm from Philadelphia, so I'm gonna have to say Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons.
Yeah, okay.
I'm very hard on Ben Simmons just because he can't shoot. But aside from shooting, this guy can literally do everything: pass, rebound, all that. But especially defend. I feel like he's the best defender in the league at 6'10". Can guard literally every position on the point guard, shooting guard, 1 through 5, he can do it. I like one game he locked up Donovan Mitchell, another
Yeah,
game he locked up Luka Doncic. He can defend big man. So I feel like he should be the clear favorite.
I like
I'm
that.
not a big Rudy Gobert fan just because
Yeah.
I feel like we have guys like Zion, Joel Embiid just getting buckets on him every time. So I would definitely have Ben Simmons as the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion.
I agree totally with that, Miles. Big men, I think they get a lot of love because they can block shots. Okay, like Rudy Gobert, I feel like he can't guard nobody other than the 4 and the 5 spot.
Yeah.
But you think like Ben Simmons can guard a lot of these guys. He is a beast on the defensive side. Like you're right, he can't score, but that's okay. I mean, he scores off the court with the ladies, with all the influencers he be shacking up with. But the only other guy I can think about if he wasn't hurt is Anthony Davis, because I feel like he's athletic enough. He can guard a lot of guys, but he's out. So I think you're right. I think Ben Simmons is a clear cut. I can't think of anybody else that I can really say that can lock down people like that. And especially in this modern NBA, it's hard to lock people down, man, because defenders can't hand check anymore. They can't do any of that stuff anymore. So, but I definitely agree. Ben Simmons is definitely a solid pick. Really quick, who do you think is the coach of the year so far?
Coach of the year. It's either gonna be between Quinn Snyder and Doc. I feel like whoever has the number 1 seed.
Right.
I mean, I'm a huge Doc fan. I feel like but I mean, before Embiid had his injury, I feel like Doc played a big part in the reason why Joel Embiid has had this fantastic season, has had this MVP year.
Right.
So my pick would be Doc Rivers. But of course, if the Jazz maintain that number 1 seed, Quinn Snyder will probably get it. But for my pick, it's got to be the Sixers up with Doc Rivers. But nobody really thought that they would be a number 1 seed. Same with
Right.
same with the
Jazz.
Jazz. But I'm gonna just go with the Doc Rivers on this one.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair one. I mean, one coach I could probably say is Monty Williams from the Suns. But honestly, probably CP3 is the more responsible for them actually, for them being where they're at. But he's definitely like an honorable mention. But you're right. I think Quinn Snyder low key has been doing a great job in Utah. I mean, considering the market that they play in, they only have really one superstar. And the fact that they're making playoffs, they're going deep into the playoffs. But you're right. I think it all depends on who finishes best will determine whether or not they will get the coach of the year job. So Miles, that's it, man. I appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot. Let everybody know where they can catch you out, what's new with you. And it's your time. Go for it.
I appreciate you, Ryan, for having me on. You can y'all can listen to my podcast. We air episodes weekly at Real Talk with Miles Johnson on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of that. And I actually created a YouTube channel like a month ago, and so we also have episodes weekly as well. But man, I appreciate you for having me on. I got to have you on my show as well.
Absolutely, man. I'm down. Whenever you let me know, man, I'll be there. So, but I appreciate you taking the time. And you said you're in college, right? You go to Morehouse?
I go to Morehouse. Yeah.
That's in where's that at? Like DC area or something like Maryland?
Atlanta.
I'm tripping. I'm thinking so. Yeah, Atlanta. Okay. All right. Yeah. So represent for the HBCUs, man. I appreciate you, man. Yeah. That's Miles Johnson, man. You guys check him out, man. Great dude. He's got good content. So Miles, peace out, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you.
All right, that's Miles Johnson from Let's Talk with Miles Johnson podcast, man. Hey, go support the young brother, man. All right, he's doing his thing. I like that. I like, young brothers out there doing something constructive. We're just talking about sports. So I was honored to have him on. He's representing for the Black colleges here in America. So appreciate him for coming on. Yeah, man, that's it. Man, this time goes by so quick. Before you know it, I'm like, man, it's a half an hour. It's a half an hour and I'm out of here. So special thanks out to everyone that was watching the show tonight, whether you were watching on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, on my Instagram, anyone in the comment section, my boy Barry Grant. Again, big thanks and shout out goes to Miles Johnson. And also, man, big ups to Nipsey Hussle, man. Rest in peace, man. Today was the day he passed away, I believe, 2 years ago. For those of you on the West Coast or who follow music, Nipsey Hussle was a legend in the LA area, and I'm from LA. I born and raised in LA. So shout out to Nipsey Hussle, man. we keep grinding, man. The marathon continues. But that's my show. You can catch me next week again on Monday, same time, same channels at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until then, everybody, this is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Man, let's go. Clutch Sports Talk Live with Ryan Flowers is presented by All Pro Digital Sports, the future in sports media content. Let's go.